Hey guys, Heavy on 45 here. Now, you probably done dress up your kids, took photos of them, put them onto Facebook and everything like that. And now you're relaxing thinking, oh, I got a month before I have to start trying to cook some food for doggone Thanksgiving. Or, if you celebrate stuff like that. Most people just do it for the food. Some people do it because they actually believe in the holiday. But it's a time off where families come together talking about what they're thankful for. And last year I did a video every week on what I was thankful for. But I'm not gonna do that this year. I am gonna talk about some things that I think that are awesome. And the first thing I wanted to talk about was character per se. One of my favorite characters from Naruto has always been Shikamaru. I've liked how intelligent he was. He outthought everyone that he was around. He was always playing 3D chess, or at least shogi. But the person who I thought was a threat no matter what was always Rock Lee. Now, Rock Lee is dangerous for one simple reason. No one knows. Actually, there is never a time where Rock Lee is off guard. Yes, you have his 8 gates, but the 8 gates isn't what I'm talking about. He is a master of every single thing that Jackie Chan dreamed of in all his movies. Like, Rock Lee, without even trying, is a master at drunken fighting. He is. So when he's asleep, when he's drunk, you can't fight him. Like, he's still limber enough to fight. Cause I remember when he was fighting that Bone guy back in the original Naruto, he was just like still so flexible going against him and everything like that. Because he thought that he was taking his medicine, but no, it was sake. Um, Also, you can't get him even when he's asleep. Even when he's asleep, he still is able to fight. Rock Lee was just so epic in the way that he fought people. Because you can never catch him off guard. And it's not even said later on if he still had those weights on his legs and stuff like that, because that weighted training that he did, he kept weights on his legs all the time, made his legs stronger and stronger. And I don't know how strong he was, but I know that he's kind of like other characters that you hear about in some anime. It's kind of like Maple, who she put all her points into defense. He put all his into taijutsu. Unlike everybody else who had a little bit of ability to do genjutsu, um, ninjutsus and stuff like that, he had no ability to be able to do those. So he focused on taijutsu, just the abilities to fight. So he was able to fight no matter what was going on. Yeah, he couldn't do none of the special moves of like um doing a fireball, shooting a wind attacker, and thing like that. But just his pure tenacity in the way he was in close quarters combat was almost unrivaled. And like, I would love to have known, because I want to say, you, even when the large war happened, you didn't see Rock Lee at his best, because Rock Lee never really got into the fights like he should have. He he was there, but even during the war, I don't think that he ever took the weights off. And it would, because we know that when he takes those weights off, he is super fast. But it was like, when he got into fight, the his mind in the war, and even after that, never was at the point to where he was back to what he used to be at. Like, you never saw him hit those top speeds like how he was based in Dust and Gaara back during that time. And you know, I'll give you that, because he wasn't the special character like everybody else, and it did give him a very big disadvantage when it came to um fighting like, let's say, Sasuke or Naruto or someone like that, because we saw what happened with Guy. Guy could open up the eight had to open up the eight paths to even fight somebody that was, I would say, semi the level of Naruto, because like I know Death Battle gave Guy the win against All Might. But my thing is that with the eight gates, once you hit the eighth gate, you're dead. Like, Guy died after he did that. And the only reason he didn't die was because Naruto breathed life into him somewhat and brought him back to life. But if it wasn't for that, he would have been dead. And in the same way, you could say that uh Rock Lee technically could go into the eighth gate and just demolish a lot of different people. But he, even if he would have did that, he would not, it would not have made him strong enough to fight people like I said, Sasuke, Naruto, because they had massive attacks. He had the advantage when it came to close quarters, but a lot of their attacks didn't have anything to do with close quarters. They could fight you from a distance. Like, if Naruto wanted to fight Rock Lee, he could go ahead and just go into his Kurama stance, where he just lets Kurama's aura cover him up and make it to where he is Kurama. I mean, he is the embodiment of Kurama, or uh, Sasuke could use Susanoo. Um, but the thing is that Rock Lee, for all that stuff, you know, they never showed him at his best after that. And I could blame it on, he had a leg injury, but his legs seemed to be somewhat fine. I won't say they were as good as they were before, but I think he still would have been able to use at least half the weight, at least half the weight that he had on, and he would have still been able to have this speed, because soon they did bring his legs back to where te- technically he wasn't even supposed to be able to become a shinobi, but he wasn't able to just become a shinobi, but he was able to join back with his team and fight on, you know. So I think that Rock Lee was a awesome character. I think that like I said, his ability to drunken fight while asleep, fight when he's actually awake. There was no time where you could find Lee off guard. Do I think that Rock Lee could beat everybody in the world? No. I think he could give a lot of people a lot of challenges, because he wasn't as slow as they made him seem to be. I think really when you get into like Shippuden and like the later, well, yeah, mostly Shippuden, because you don't really see a lot of Lee in the later parts after Sasuke is taken. But when you get to in Shippuden, they kind of nerfed the abilities of Lee, because he technically should have been able to do everything that he was able to do before, but he was his speed was nerfed, his abilities were nerfed, and it kind of makes it to me where he him, Tintin, and Neji were a perfect team. I you know I think that if they would work together, Neji might still be alive, but they all were separated in or were in different parts of the battlefield because of their uh abilities were focused in different areas. Um but I do think that they nerfed when they got into Shippuden, they did nerf uh Lee, because Rock Lee should have been. I'm not gonna say that he should have been just demolishing everyone. Like I said, he could basically get stuck in a genjutsu like it was nobody's business because he didn't have the ability to break himself out of it. But feel like even if you got him into a genjutsu, you're not gonna just stab his body. Somehow he would still be able to fight. Somehow his body will be in. I mean, his mind will be in the genjutsu while his body's still fighting somebody. And that's the weird part about Rock Lee. And he was so awesome for it. And if you go to Baruto, he's talked about, but like he's not a big deal like he could be. Like he was if I had to pick between all the people from the original Naruto that I thought actually could fight from Konoha, my choices would have been, and somebody would probably make. I would put Sakura on there. I would put Sasuke, Naruto, um, Rock Lee, Shikamaru, um, Ten um, was a good support person to me. Neji was a good person, but I wouldn't have put Ten on in the front lines. That's just my because it's like you have to wait for the scroll to open up for her to get stuff. That's the only reason I wouldn't consider her a frontline fighter. Um, Range fighter possibly because she can shoot her stuff off from distance. Um, Choji after his butterfly mode was he learned how to use his butterfly mode was awesome. Eno would not have had on the front line, even though her stuff is more focused on interrogation than it is fighting, and that's why I wouldn't have put her onto it. And I'm trying to think of anybody else I'm missing from Konoha that would have. Of course, Hinata would have been. Hinata is like waifu, Naruto waifu that I wanted since the original Naruto. I never wanted him to get with Sakura. Um, but out of all those people, Lee would have been somebody that I thought was like even Shino with his bugs. I figured was a good frontline fighter. You could kill his bugs, but he actually was worth fight. But and he was I would have picked him over Kiba. Like once you get into Boruto, they kind of hint to you what everybody's doing, and it's not really like they've talked about Kiba, but Kiba's not one of the main characters that you hear a lot about. You see Rock Lee every once in a while because you see his son. Um, but when it comes to fighting, I would have said that, you know, I don't even know what Rock Lee's job is now in Konoha. Oh, I forgot Sai. Of course, Sai would do so. I wouldn't put him also on the front lines. He's also a range fighter. He's he's kind of like the Air Force. He can kind of fly around and like um drop different attacks in different places. He doesn't, he doesn't have to actually be in war. Plus, he can also good at relaying information to different parts of the army. So that's what I would have figured for. That's what I would have figured what happened with everybody else in Naruto. But Rock Lee, no matter which way you do it, was the most offensive person you could find. He was somebody that could not be found um lacking when it came to his defenses. Like, yes, he got caught by Gar, and I can't explain though. He didn't have a perfect defense, but he's always has ability to attack somebody, no matter if he's asleep, like I said, drunk, or he just awake. You know, there's not a moment where he's off guard, and that's why I I'm impressed with him. I don't know if you are. Um, I hope that y'all enjoy this. I wrote last video that I was going to start trying to do my videos on um Mondays, since it seems easier for me to have the videos taken care of and ready for y'all and out there on today than on Sunday. So I hope y'all enjoyed this, and I'll catch you later.